Yeah, no, that'll be fine.
Yeah.
The speed is okay, right?
Yeah.
Do we hear the flute enough?
What's that?
Do we hear him enough?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Awesome. That's great. Do you want a music stand for the iPad? Or you got it all figured out?
Can it sit on a...
Yeah, yeah.
We can take it out. I mean, we can.
You speak very smoothly.
Hey George, how you doing? Hey Jim. Well, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. How's it been? How's it
Good.
Life's
Yeah, going pretty good. Smooth sailing. I just got an artist residency at the manship property for this winter.
Oh,
So I'm
nice.
excited. That's like first on my brain. That's exciting.
I mean, you go over there and live over there, or is it?
Well, if I want, yeah, I think I will. But I've got a cat, and I'll have to keep coming back and forth.
Yeah.
There's some, if I have the house, I can have guests come and record and stuff. So that'll be great.
That's great. That's very exciting.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
How you doing?
Good. I am excited. I'm applying to be a photography member at the Rockport Art Association.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, last spring I won with a photograph. I got the Best in Any Media award. So I said, oh, they're that cool about photography now that it's been a battle for them. So I said, okay.
Right. They finally accept
My photographs are very abstract. You know, they're not postcards.
Yeah.
They weren't. Okay, good.
Don't be nervous. Stop it.
Okay, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Good morning. My name is Lucille LePage, contrary to what you see in your order of worship. As you probably know, this is Holly Tangway, and she has plenty of other work to do today, so last minute switch. Good morning. I have a few announcements before we begin our service for you. First of all, a warm welcome to everyone this morning, those of you here in person and those of you watching on YouTube. Everyone is welcome here, whatever your heritage, your age, your income, your abilities, whatever your religious beliefs, and however you choose to participate, either in person or on YouTube. As a welcoming congregation, we affirm the full inclusion of people of all sexual orientations and gender identities. A very special welcome to any visitors with us this morning. If you'd like to get connected and learn more about our community life, please take a moment to fill out a yellow pew card that you'll see located on the back of the seat in front of you, or you can sign the guest book in the vestibule. We hope you'll join us for refreshments downstairs in our fellowship hall following the service so that we have a chance to connect in person. There is no child care for children today. Our new social gathering, we're calling it Mug Up, is underway. Everyone's invited to come Friday mornings at 10 o'clock downstairs to chat or work on knitting or crocheting or have a hot beverage or share stories from the newspaper or whatever. So, everyone is welcome to drop in, again, Friday mornings from 10 to noon downstairs in the Williams room. Socks and underwear drive. I'll let Holly, the expert, tell you.
Good morning. Janet is taking today off, and we are having a very special morning, hearing what some of our members believe, their statements of belief. And one of those people is ill. Her, Peggy Kimball, is not feeling well today. So we will have 3 speakers instead of 4. About socks and underwear. Some of you know this is an annual drive of ours to collect socks and underwear for boys and girls, men and women of all ages to benefit the clients of Pathways, of the Grace Center, and of Unity. We are long on long underwear and hats, short on socks and underwear. If you could do anything to help, buy them yourself, give me money to buy them, come when we announce that we're going to divide and distribute. It would be greatly helpful. It's supposed to end, a few donations always come in late, but it's this month of October is the month of the drive. And we're running behind last year's take for sure. I also wanted to let you know that I'm shifting gears toward the holiday fair, which will be the second Saturday in December. I'm forgetting the date right now, the day of the Middle Street Walk. And we will have, as we usually do, vendors and lunch and tours of the church and some music. And I'm hoping that our stalwart kitchen supervisor and fish stew maker, Jim Seavey, will step up, and that our stalwart cookie walk organizer, Pat Cronin, will also. She's nodding, yes, this is good. Right now I'm a committee of 1, so I would really love someone to help with the other organizing. Speak to me after the service if you can. Also, if you want to give me money towards socks and underwear, I'll try to be at the door after the service in case you have to leave and aren't coming to coffee hour.
Thanks, Holly. Book group. The next book has been chosen. It will be How the Word is Passed by Clint Smith. The date for the discussion is December 2nd at 2 o'clock. So start reading. The group is open to everyone. Before we begin, if the folks watching from home would like to light a candle or chalice along with us here in a few moments, this is a good time to go and get one, a candle or a chalice, so that we can do this ritual together in spirit. Thank you.
Excuse me, Lucia? Just one last thing. I was just speaking with Anthony. Apparently, if folks don't know, the LA is open for parking. We are once again able to park
The alley is now open to parking. I guess the sod has settled.
And I have one more announcement that I forgot, to express gratitude to Anthony, who brought our flowers today.
Thank you.
Our call to worship this morning is by Kathleen McTeague. Into this home, we bring our hunger for awakening. We bring compassionate hearts and a will toward justice. Into this home, we bring the courage to walk on after hard losses. Into this home, we bring our joy and gratitude for ordinary blessings. By our gathering, we know this place. In its shelter, we know ourselves blessed. Come, let us worship together. Our opening hymn is number 300 in the Gray Hymnal, With Heart and Mind. You're welcome to rise in body or in spirit to sing our opening hymn.
Praise
Universalist faith tradition, we enter into worship by the simple ritual of kindling our chalice. The flame of our chalice this morning is a symbol of the warmth and brightness of our connections. And the double circles of the sculpture remind us to keep inviting others into the ever-widening circle. As Lucille lights our chalice, if you have a candle or chalice prepared at home, please light us with it now. Light it with us now. We take a moment now to affirm the covenant that we share with one another. Newcomers and guests, the words of our affirmation are printed in the order of service, if you'd like to read along with us. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this great gift. Since the invasion of Ukraine, we have been lighting a candle for peace each week to join our hopes for peace with all others around the world in this moment. And now, congregation member Gail Seavey will offer us a meditation, which will be followed by silent meditation and a musical interlude.
Good morning. This meditation that I'm going to invite you to join me in is by Joanna Macy, an engaged Buddhist, who many of us working in climate change work here in town have been taking workshops with her work that reconnects. So I'd like to invite you to relax your bodies as fully as you can. To feel your breathing in your lungs, abdomen, how it glides in and out. The oxygen ignites each cell, stirs it awake as it burns in the metabolism of life. Extend your awareness deep within to feel its energy. It is all around you too, sustaining all the bodies in this room, weaving us into the web of life. Imagine you can see the interlacing currents like threads of light. See how they connect us and extend beyond this room, this moment. Experience the great multiplicity of strands formed by countless relationships, woven of work and food, the laughter and tears you've shared with others. They shape what you are. They hold you in place. Sense those interwoven threads. Rest into them. This web sustains your bones and blood and skin, concocted so intricately out of the food you have eaten, out of the grains, vegetables, fruit, nuts, the soil that yields the grain for your bread, the boughs of the tree that bear apples for you, the hands that sow, reap, gather. They are all your body now. Back through time, this web extends. Parents, great-grandparents, giving you your coloring and features, your gestures, your tone of voice. The web extends back through countless generations, through numberless ancestors we share, all the way back to those with gills and wings. For it is of star stuff evolving that we are made in the flowing of time. We are each a jewel in this vast net that called us into being. Each of us an irreplaceable gem, sparkling with awareness, reflecting the world. Sound of gull crying over the sea, sight of mountain rising, colors of sunrise, sense of pine and loam, the excitement of a new idea, the melody of a half-forgotten song. There is pain, too, coming along the strands of the web, a friend with cancer, a forest burning, a Middle Eastern mother weeping for her lost children. Do not shut them out. They live in the web of this planet time. Open to these sorrows, breathe them in, so the channels may stay open for the flow of energy and life and change. If we block the pain, we block the joy as well. There is power in the flowing of this fluid net, love that has enriched us, and love that we give. Feel the caring and love that flow through you. Open to the pulsing of the web, its murmurs, whiskers, tugs. Through that vast network, all forms arose, intelligence arose. It shaped you as it shaped the mockingbird and the deep diving whale. You are of it, even into the terrors we've unleashed now. Open to it all, unafraid, relaxed, alert. We are the universe knowing itself. To all our siblings, we are open now. In this time of great hardships, we go now through a dark place, but we do not go alone. And we do not go without our own timeless knowledge of the dark. We come from it. It is behind our eyes. And we will look into it together until the dark itself is clear and home. There's nowhere you can go where you are not held in the web that sustains us. As we go into the silence, still sensing these connections through space and time, we stir and stretch and slowly open our eyes.
you, Gail and Steve. Also, thanks to Genevieve Dion for her piano playing today. Next.
Please join me now in our responsive reading, which is number 439 in the back of your gray hymnal. Please read the italicized lines. We gather in reverence before the wonder of life. The wonder of this moment. The wonder of being together, so close yet so apart. Each listening, each trying to speak.
Yet none fully understanding, none fully understood.
We gather in reverence before all intangible things. That eyes see not, nor ears can detect.
That hands can never touch, that space cannot hold, and time cannot measure. This morning's offering will now be generously given and gratefully received. Blessings upon the givers and on your gifts. Would you like me to do the reading, Lucille? I can do it. I'm here. Show Me, God, by Monica Dobbins. Some say we are made in God's image, but it is equally true, maybe more so, that we make you in our image as well. What sort of God shall I make for myself? Do I imagine you to be everlasting, unchanging, rigid? Or are you always learning, growing, changing, just as I am? Do I imagine a God of rules and regulations, a God of perfect order? Or are you bending, moving, flowing? When I contemplate the divine, I contemplate nature, including my own nature, and I recognize the great secret of creation. Nothing remains the same. Everything is transitioning, transforming, transcending its original borders. So maybe your first name is Becoming. Not that which is, but that which will be. Let my prayer then be this: God of many names, show me what I am capable of. Now, our first congregation member to speak for us is Susan Nicholson.
Instead of making a statement of my beliefs, I thought I would tell a few stories about pivotal events that shaped them. In the summer of 1955, when I was 12, I contracted polio. I was in line for, but had not yet received, the Salk vaccine that was just introduced the preceding April. I was 2 weeks in the hospital and missed a semester of school. The little girl from whom I contracted polio ended up in an iron lung. During my recovery period, 2 ladies from the Presbyterian church my family attended in Pittsburgh paid a visit to our house. Soon after arriving, one of the ladies regarded me approvingly and remarked, "It's clear God wanted you to survive. He has a plan for you." I remember recoiling from those words. What did that mean for those who didn't survive? What would she have said to the child in the iron lung? God wanted you to spend the rest of your life in this machine? If God is really good, why wouldn't he have wanted us both to recover? Why would he favor me and disfavor her? That early episode did it for me with the Presbyterian doctrine of predestination. But I didn't turn away entirely. I attended church confirmation classes, and like Holly, was quick to come up with the correct answers to whatever questions I was asked. Unlike Holly, I didn't yet realize I didn't believe a word of what I had said. That changed a couple of years later when I was seeing an older guy who was already in college. I wouldn't say dating because I never knew when he would show up. He'd simply appear and asked if I wanted to go for a ride, or go to a movie, or just sit and talk on the porch. I always said yes. One day he arrived with 2 crates of books, which he plopped down in front of me and then left. "If I'm going to spend time with you," he said, "you're going to have to get better educated." Thinking about it now, I suppose I could have been really insulted. Instead, I reached for the first book. It was by the British philosopher Bertrand Russell. Russell's clear prose was a revelation to me, and upon finishing it, I said to myself, "That's what I am. I'm an atheist." Bob Kelly didn't remain in my life, but Bertrand Russell did. And together with the rest of the philosophy books in those 2 crates, set my direction for the next 20 years. As a philosopher, I had ample time to examine the arguments for and against the existence of God, and I found the latter far more compelling. For context with this last story, I need to give you a little information, which is that I loved my mother very much, but I came to realize early on I didn't agree with all her values, and that I was going to have to distance myself from her to be who I wanted to be. So now it's summer 1983, and my partner Charlotte and I have moved from Pittsburgh to Gloucester. I've left my teaching job in philosophy and enrolled in law school, and Charlotte is away bicycling in France. I invite my mother to visit me, and we plan a trip to Star Island in the Isles of Shoals. During the 45-minute ferry ride, my mother manages to tell everyone within listening distance that her daughter is attending Harvard Law School. There's an intimation that I'll soon be wearing the black robes of a Supreme Court justice. Upon getting her first glimpse of a rocky coastline that both Charlotte and I love so much, she complained how dirty the rocks looked. and had to be coaxed onto the steep slope of the gangway. Once we reached the veranda of the Oceanic Hotel, she'd settled down. But fearing more boastful conversations with the guests who were rocking peacefully on the veranda, I encouraged her to accompany me for a walk. That took us directly into an unmarked tern nesting area, where we were met with angry birds that screamed and dove straight at my mother's head, and only hers for some reason, causing her to flee back to the veranda, shrieking. I could go on, but you get the idea. I arrived home exhausted and exasperated, and I could barely manage a civil goodnight to my mother. And then something truly extraordinary happened. While sleeping, I had a visit from my older sister. She sat down on the bed and put her arms around me. She held and calmed and soothed me. I was as certain then of her presence as I am speaking to you now. She spoke to me of the strengths and weaknesses of my mother. She urged me to be gentle and kind. I no longer remember exactly what she said, but I do remember I was transformed when I woke up. The rancor I had felt toward my mother had completely disappeared, and for the entirety of the remainder of the visit. The impact of my sister's nighttime visit was undeniable. Doesn't it follow the visit had to be real? The problem was my sister knew nothing about it. Several days after my mother left, I placed a call to my sister in England and told her I had just spent time with my mother. "Oh, that's nice, dear," she said. "How did it go?" I take this to show we have far more capacity within ourselves to create such experiences than we realize. My sister would have been the person to say those things to me. That much was totally in character. But she didn't, in fact, say any of them. I said them to myself in her voice. So whenever someone relates a similar experience as evidence that the dead continue to exist in some form, I think to myself, but there could be an alternative explanation. Well, there's a whole lot more to belief than God and immortality, but I'm over time, so I'll stop there.
Now, Gail Seavey will speak.
Wonderful stories. I'm just going to talk about what I believe in, because I don't really believe there's such a thing as belief, but I do believe in the interconnected web of all existence of which we are a part. And I was born to it. I was born enmeshed in a large family and kind of saved from getting pulled too deep into that by being embedded in the rest of nature. And did I have words for this? No, of course not. It was experience. It was just my experience. And like all of us, it wasn't until there were some tensions in that experience that I started to think about it. And it was just adolescence, right? It was like, okay, I really did feel like I was in a net, but it was like a spider's web. And I do love spiders, but the image was I was stuck in one of those little interstices of it, like a fly, and the spider was wrapping me up, getting me ready to eat some future day. And that was intention. This feeling of I'm going to get lost. I can't be an individual. With all the relationships I had with the rest of the world, which were growing, right? At that time, you're out in the world, you're growing, loving relationships, friendships, deeper relationships with, intellectual reading. For me, it was dance, it was the arts. It was with clay, it was with water, it was with the fire. What was that tension? So it wasn't until I became involved with feminism as a young woman and then women's spirituality that I started to think, oh, look at all these myths. There's all kinds of nets in the myths and legends from the past, and to relate that to ritual, which I had also a Presbyterian, long left behind. I wasn't have anything to do with any of that. And again, it was just experience, but there were words with the myths and stories. Words. People had beliefs. What could that be? That took me to the Unitarian Universalist Church in Lockport at the time. We lived near there. And took me to my first General Assembly, where it happened to be, it was 1984, happened to be one of the years, because it was a multi-year process, that all the congregations in the United States and Canada were trying to think about what their shared values were, and the seventh of those shared values was respect for the interdependent way of all existence, of which we are a part. Now, that was considered a value that we shared. It was overwhelmingly accepted. It was a value that we shared. For me, it was the closest to divinity. To me, it was a God statement. I don't believe in God, but I believe we make God what we want it, so who we are. So for me, it was a God statement. That's the word that the Western world has used for a long time about that big thing. That orients our life. So to me, it was a God statement. And that led me to divinity school, right? Where I found out that this experience of profound, radical interconnection with all matter and energy that is, going back in the past and through, kind of four-dimensional, really. I would never say anything is universal, but it seemed like every culture and religion that I studied had some kind of words for that, some kind of story for that. Well, they're all different, but they were for stories or maybe interpretations of the same experience of this radical interdependence. And that shapes us in every shape. And the one example I was going to talk about today, just mentioned, is in the meditation we did from Joanna Macy, Engaged Buddhism. That comes from, she used an image in that, I don't know if you noticed it, that we're part of a web. And she talked about that each one of us is a jewel. You know, almost like where the dewdrops rest on the spider web. And that's from an ancient Mahayana text about Indra's net, which actually goes back to Hinduism, but that's more like the spider is going to get you. Indra's net is used as a teaching tool for not only this radical interbeing we have, but also what they call creation, co-creation, that is always new, this interaction has something new emerging. So it's like some of the reading you did. God is always changing. Because, of course, they don't have God. That's emptiness, and they show that's emptiness is this radical co-creation. Anyway, so that's just one of many. And I could name a religion, I'll tell you what I think is an expression of it. So all of the years, so there's a third point, is then I studied pastoral care. And how I was fortunate enough to study pastoral care was through family systems. And that introduced me to systems theory, which was started with social and biological systems, but of course, my whole adult life The philosophy, the science, the math, and physics and biology of systems, all overlapping, has been developed radically. And that led me to a philosopher, Alfred North Whitehead, process theology. He was another Brit from the mid-1800s, mid-1900s. And I'm going to just read a quote because it's my favorite. Process theology is, everybody's doing process theology now, which is great because I never was into theology until process theology. A lot of Unitarians were process theologians. But this is a quote. We see the world as a web of interrelated process, of which we are integral parts, so all our choices and actions have consequences in the world around us. That's my belief statement. You notice that it ends not just with this image or this experience of interconnection, but with an ethics statement, which I know everybody here, no matter what their beliefs, knows that as humble, as small, as reflective as we are in this great four-dimensional universe, what we do matters, because we are part of that. We're each a jewel, and we are each part of divinity. I'll believe it.
Steve is saying in the interest of time, we will skip the musical interlude. So come ahead, Joe.
No, mine is fast. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Jim Seavey.
I'm going to speak from up there. I'm speaking from up here because I like the view. And I'm also, as a white male, I feel that what I have to say involves a little bit of pontification. Okay, to the script. I believe in salt water brimming with krill, rolling over granite shores, filtering into the marshlands, the sweetgrass. I believe in metal hot from coals or boiling water, in primordial forces reverberating through all time and space, giving life the shape of justice or despair. I believe in the vast inner working neurons, more numerous than the stars, enfolded into the human brain, creating and recreating world upon worlds beyond illusion or understanding. I believe we can work towards that which is worthy, even if we can't know what worthy is or where our work will lead. I believe very little is actually in our control, and the less we think we are in control, the better off we'll be. I believe that love is the only answer to any question. I was disillusioned with any and all religion when my father died when I was 13, but my faith in human capacity has led me to believe that even if sometimes used for evil ends, all religions are correct. I discovered from my Muslim friends that I am a Muslim, just not a very good one. Ditto, every known sect, coven, voluntary association I have known or can imagine. We all have erred 1,000, nay, 10,000 times, and will still proceed on our gradually self-correcting course. Sometimes the corrections come a little late. Alas, amen. So be it. Shantith, shantith, shantith.
Thank you to Susan, Gail, and Jim. You have enriched us today with your reflections on your life and on our lives. Please join me now in the unison prayer printed in your order of service. Eternal Spirit, earth maker, pain bearer, life giver, source of all that is and that shall be, Father and Mother of us all, loving God in whom is heaven, the hallowing of your name echo through the universe. The way of your justice be followed by the peoples of the world. Your heavenly will be done by all created beings. Your commonwealth of peace and freedom sustain our hope and come on earth. With the bread we need for today, feed us. In the hurts we absorb from one another, forgive us. In times of temptation and test, strengthen us. From trial too great to endure, spare us. From the grip of all that is evil, free us. For you reign in the glory of the power that is love, now and forever. Amen. Our closing hymn is number 295 in the gray hymnal. Sing out praises for the journey. Our benediction is by Barbara Pescan, adapted. Often we are found in our grief and comforted, calmed by some kindness, brought alive again by beauty that catches us undefended. Even when the sun is most thin and far, even when the storm is at its height, renewal nests within sorrow. Love abides, even beyond anger, beyond death. We are held in an embrace, invisible but infinite, moving with all creation between wholeness and fragmentation, moving always toward the one. Love, do not let us go. Amen. Sing our song of parting. Those of you at home to hold up your candle, and together we will blow them out as we say the words to extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Please be seated.
So I just read it on the piano.
Excellent playing of the bass contours.
Oh, thank you.
You got it down. Oh, it makes a difference.
Thank you. Well, tell Dan.
I will, seriously. I'll call him up.
Let's try.
Well, thank you so much, Steve.
Yeah, that was so much fun. Awesome.
The hymns are really difficult.
Yeah. And it's so funny. It's like the closing hymn. I thought I hit that better than the first one.